I'm Robert Beatty, and this is my story. I grew up in a small town called New Harmony, Utah. Grew up in a small house and a small family of religious people in southern Utah, as you can imagine. From the Mormons, they call them out there. But I had a pretty normal childhood. My parents were great parents and lived on a farm, grew up on a farm. So raised animals and pigs and horses and milked cows and shotguns and rode in the hills and did everything a normal kid would do. I played sports as a young man, and I played football in high school. I also excelled as a musician. I played the trumpet in high school. Identity issues was probably, what am I going to do in life? The normal things a kid would go through. Where am I going to go? Am I going to go to school? Early on, I set my sights on a military career, and so that kind of led me in that direction. Just jumped into the military headstrong and decided that that's going to be my career path, and until I found out about the hard politics involved in a military career and made a decision that it wasn't for me. I'm proud of my military service. If I hadn't have gone through what I've gone through, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. Desert Storm was my first episode of combat and also the pivotal point of my development of mental illness. I wanted to be a family man and, build a career somehow in something that I could excel financially in, which led me away from the military into the direction of heading into the film and television world. My military career lasted 13 years. I left there and started working for a director in southern Utah, doing small jobs as a grip, and that got me into desiring to pursue a career in television and film. I had a very successful early career in my life in entertainment. I was the CEO of Chariot Entertainment. We built an empire out of that company. I teamed up with guys like Stan Lee. Stan and I built a project called Legion of Five together. And at one point, I had a net worth of over $45 million. Mental illness that I suffered from that stemmed from military career, from PTSD, from depression, from anxiety, stripped me of all of it. I lost everything. My homes, my family, and I ended up homeless in Salt Lake City, addicted to alcohol, heroin, anything I could get my hands on. I was no longer in charge, and that I needed to stop doing what I was doing, or I was going to lose my life to what was happening to me. Many, many trips to the emergency room, the hospitalizations, the sickness. Having a doctor tell me that I wouldn't live the day was probably the biggest turning point for me, to where I finally decided that I was no longer in control of what I had going on in my life. It felt like a failure. It's that none of us really have any power to do anything. We don't have the power to change the way that our minds work and the way that mental illness and addiction works. And if I was going to share anything with anybody, it would be to surrender to that idea at an early age. Seek guidance from whatever you call your higher power, God, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Allah, it doesn't really matter. But get outside of yourself and rely on something besides you. Will take you a lot further than your own self will. The journey that I was on is being told by a doctor in Salt Lake City that I had lost my life to the addiction and the mental illness, that my liver had completely shut down and that I was not going to recover from it. I think that's the first time in my life that I finally surrendered to the idea of a higher power than me, something greater, something fundamental. In the military, they used to tell us there's no atheists in a foxhole, but I didn't believe it until that point. Made a decision not to go back to film and television because it was my downfall, that I had to do something that would make a difference. I decided to go in a different direction, and the direction that I chose was to help others who suffer from mental illness and addiction, and started my first treatment centers. My company, Zion Healing, has a veterans initiative, and we build treatment centers in close proximity adjacent to Veterans Administration hospitals, and we specifically treat combat veterans and military veterans who suffer from PTSD and depression using our methodologies and our technology through TMS and neurofeedback. We don't have failures, I can tell you that. In our business, we build success stories, and every single individual is somebody of great importance to us. We're engaged in every treatment plan, and every single one of them from coast to coast. And, we have dozens and dozens of centers nationwide. I would say that we are as engaged in their recovery as they are. The thing that drives me so much is watching somebody recover. Self-gratification that comes from watching us out on if they have an opportunity to participate in that. What we do is different than anybody else in the industry. We build success stories out of every student that comes through our facilities, and they understand that to begin with. And so the general feedback would be that they knew coming into this that this is where they were going to get well. If I could go back to my 20-something self, I think it would be to stop spending so much time on myself and my own wants and my own selfishness, and stop focusing on the material things of this world, because we're here a very short period of time. And so within that period of time, we need to make a difference and start relying on a higher power. I mean, it would have been easy. Having a very successful career as an executive producer with organizations like Warner's and being involved in the film industry like I was, and having that, I don't think there's any of it that can top the reward of what I do today. If I can tell my story to somebody who's suffering, I'm going to relate with them every time. And I get right down on that level with them. I'm in the trenches with them, and I build trust and confidence that way. And it's the self-gratification of watching somebody overcome what I've been through, helping them through that process. Every day that I became stronger, I became more convicted that I was going to share a message of hope with others. Everything that I went through is who I am today, and it's why I can help the people that I can help.